for our first traffic lesson, I just want to show you where we get our information from and how we decide which reports that we should report on and in what order. So, step one is you have to go to the website. We get our traffic from Total Traffic Network, which is a company that provides services for multiple radio stations in the area. Most of them pay for the service, and it is something that we have kind of bartered with this company, that as long as we say their name when we do our reports, that we do not have to pay them, at least for right now. So we always have to say Total Traffic Network in our reports, and that is why we have our little traffic intro that in the traffic bed that we use that will automatically do it. Now, if for whatever reason you do not use that bed, you have to make sure that you mention them somewhere in the report. Now, the website is not Total Traffic Network. It is actually CC Traffic. That actually stands for Clear Channel Traffic .net. And it's really good, even though I will have this link for you in Google Classroom that you can access. It's kind of good to know in case you don't want to take the time to look it up. So cctraffic.net is the website. And normally you have to log in, so I'll show you. I'll log out real quick. Password is very easy. Username, password, exactly the same thing. It is capital K, little EOM-FM. Same thing for the password. Capital K, little EOM-FM. Now, you might have to memorize that. You can try to do this Remember Me, and your computer might remember it, but I feel like most of the Chromebooks don't allow you to remember it for some reason. So you'll notice that you see a whole lot of colors up here. We're going to talk about those in a second. What I do want to look at first, though, is the city. One of the first things you need to look at is when you are deciding whether you should or should not do a report, you need to look at what city it's in. And good source is a clipboard that's in the studio that has a list of all of the cities that we report on. And it looks similar to this. It is, like I said, it's on a clipboard in the studio. And so if you see a city on the list, that is a city that we would do a traffic report for. So anything on this list, yes, we do traffic reports on them. So if we look at this list here, you can see this city right here is Irving. And so you would get the clipboard and you would look and see if Irving is on the list. And it's in ABC order, so you should be able to find it pretty quickly. There's Irving. And so we do need to do the report that's in Irving. I keep going to the wrong thing. Okay, then we look at the next one, Frisco. And if we look back on our list, if I can find the right one, Frisco is right here. So that is another one we would need to report on. Now, before we get too far, I want to talk about some certain cities that actually take priority over other cities. And maybe if you guess, since we are Mesquite Schools Radio, we would need to put Mesquite as a priority over the other cities. That means if there is a Mesquite report, then we need to do it before most of the other reports, because we are Mesquite Schools Radio, so we want to serve our community first. I do want to show you this, though. This is a map of Mesquite, and you'll notice we kind of have two little baby sister cities that we kind of consider our kind of suburbs, I guess, and we want to keep them as a priority too. So we usually say Mesquite, Sunnyvale, and Balch Springs are three top priorities for making sure that they are in that report. Now, the city that you do not need to worry about is Fort Worth. Hopefully you remember from the beginning of the year that we have to direct our signal away from that Fort Worth area because TCU is over there and we would overpower them if we let our signal go all the way into Fort Worth. And so our line is pretty much in this area right here where our signal goes to. And so if you see an incident that is in Fort Worth, you can automatically know that we should not do that report. Now, one questionable city, since I kind of drew my line in this area right here, is that we only get a partial way into Arlington. And so if you look at our list here, you can see for Arlington, it says this side of I-20 only. Well, personally, I do not know all the streets that are on this side of I-20 in Arlington. And so my note on this one is that if you want to do Arlington, do Arlington. And if you do not want to do Arlington, don't do Arlington. It's kind of an option. You don't have to figure out if it's on this side of I-20 or not. Just know that Arlington is, you can do it if you want, you don't have to if you don't want to. Okay, now, there are different colors on this chart, and you will actually see more. Right now we only see red, yellow, and orange. I'll tell you what they mean in a second, but I'm going to kind of list them by order of how severe the problem is on for each color. So the worst problem is if it is coded in black. That means it is an extreme problem. It is usually where traffic is either stopped or going less than 10 miles an hour in the area of the accident. And so it's something that is a big, extreme problem. So anything that you see in black that is also in our cities, then we need to make sure we do them, and that is the biggest priority. It does not matter what city it's in, as long as it's in our listening area. So anything black always goes first. The next in order of severity is red. Red is a major incident. That just means that traffic, it's pretty bad. It's causing some pretty big delays, and it is something that is very important to report because it's having some major impact on the highways. So it is another one that you need to do the report. Now, the next in order of severity is yellow. Yellow is, I think it's considered like moderate. I would say for yellow, if you don't have anything else to report, or you don't have very much else to report, that you need to do yellow. But if you have a whole lot in the red and in the black, then you can just leave it off. That's especially right here at the beginning when you're just learning. It does take a while for you to write up the report. As you get more advanced, I would really like you to do everything that has problems. So just kind of keep that in mind. If you can do it, then do it. If you have a whole lot of others, and I would say if there's more than 4 in the red and black, then you don't have to do yellow. So that's kind of the deal on yellow. You'll sometimes see green. It's the next in severity. It's actually the still a problem, but very minor. Might just be just a slow delay, or just a real quick tap your brakes or something like that. So green is one of those you do not have to do. If it's green and you don't have anything else, go ahead and do it, but otherwise I would just skip the greens. Okay, next is the orange, and it is for long-term construction work. By that I mean it's something that has been going on and is going to be planning to go on for a really long time. You never, ever, never have to do the oranges. Because if it's construction and it's causing some major issues, it's going to be coded in black and red. These, again, are just long-term issues. So never do orange. Now, every once in a while, you're going to see another color that you hardly ever see, but it does come up every once in a while. That's blue. Blue is coded for an event. An event could be something like, let's say, maybe there's a parade going on that might cause delays. It's not anything that might necessarily be causing issues right now, because if it was, it would be in the black, red, yellow. But it's a potential problem because of an event. Another example would be maybe State Fair. During State Fair time, traffic does seem to get a little more busy, right there on 30 near the fair. And so it might pop up there. And one other thing you might see occasionally, if there's a weather problem, you might see a blue pop up, and it's more just a warning that maybe roads could be icy or something like that. So it's not an immediate problem right now. It's just kind of a warning of something that could potentially be a problem. So for anything blue, I'll just say it's up to you. It is not required to do. If you want to include it in your report as a warning to our listeners, then you can. So, like I said before, how many incidents should you report? You have to report everything that is in our listening area that is black or red. Every single thing. If it's out of our listening area and it's black, don't worry about it. But if it's in our listening area, which means it's on this list, and it's red or black, you have to do it. Beyond that, you do them as you feel comfortable. If there are 4 or more red and black, then I would just ignore the yellows. But if there's, let's say, only maybe 2 that are orange, or that are black or red, but then there's a yellow, I would say let's go ahead and do it. Okay, so let me show you how to select them. As you're looking at this page, it is live, and so anytime there's an update, it's just going to update itself. So you don't have to press refresh necessarily. And so what you will do is any report that you want to report on, you're going to actually click right here on the box, and it will show you, it will bring an X up. So we already determined that Irving's in our listening area. So I clicked it, you see a check mark come up. Dallas, I hope you know without even looking that Dallas is in our listening area. If you're confused though, go right over here, there's Dallas. And then we already looked, and Frisco was in our listening area. Now, since I only had 2 reds, I'm going to go ahead and select this yellow, even though, like I said before, if there was a whole bunch of reds and yellows, you wouldn't have to. So I'm going to select these 3 reports. I'm not going to select these because they're orange. Even if they are in our listening area, we do not do them. Okay, and so now I've selected them. Right now they're still in live mode, where if anything were to update on them, they would just change. But we do want to freeze it. Once we've decided which ones we want to do, we don't want it to, in the middle of our report, update and go away. So we want to go up here and press this script button, and that pulls them up into this mode. Cool thing about this mode is that you can actually do editing in there. So if you want to type in your wording in these boxes, you can do it. And we'll talk more about writing them later. But that actually freezes it, so if there are any updates on it, it's not going to do it in the middle of your report. I'll also go ahead and show you this. If you go to info format, it takes you back to kind of what it looked like on the original screen. And then sentence format is the one that you can do editing on. So I want to go over one more time the priorities. So anything that is in black needs to be the first thing that you report. If there's 2 of them, it doesn't matter what order, except that Mesquite would be a priority over it, and Sunnyvale and Balch Springs would be a priority if that is in black. Okay, so after black, I want you to do anything that's in Mesquite, Balch Springs, or Sunnyvale. Even if Mesquite, Balch Springs, or Sunnyvale is yellow or green, go ahead and do that right after you do the ones that are in black. After that, you need to do red, anything in red. Then if you still don't have at least 4 reports for now, or if later when you've gotten more comfortable writing, you can do more, then go ahead and do yellow. And Green would be last priority, again, only if you don't have a whole lot of the other